everyone. This is Lucas Ross Sports. Lucas Ross, your commentator. We continue our 2022 college football predictions. The Ole Miss Rebels are up next. I'll give my thoughts on this team, give you my official prediction for this team, and preview their schedule, and I will go from there. But before we do that, let's look back at 2021 for this Ole Miss team. Looking back at 2021 for this Ole Miss team, they went 10-3 overall, lost their bowl game to Baylor in the Sugar Bowl. They went all the way to a New Year's Six bowl, so it was a good season last year for Ole Miss, but something to be better on this year. And let's take a look at the offense and defensive rankings for this team last year. 24th on offense and 51st on defense. That defense, has been having a lot of question marks for the first two seasons for Lane Kiffin. 24th on offense, though. I think that offense should be better, but the offense is going to be really young this year. Let's get to the points per game and opponents per game. 33.7 points a game on the offensive side of the ball and 24.7 points on the defensive side of the ball. So those are really solid numbers for Ole Miss. Defensively, they have a lot of question marks. They have quite a lot back, though, coming this year. Offensively, though, they're going to be really young on that side of the ball. My thoughts on this team is I think they'll be good, but they will score some points, no doubt about it. Ole Miss scores every point in every game. Matt Corral, though, is gone, so how does Ole Miss do without him? I think Ole Miss does still really do good without him, but let's get to the schedule now for Ole Miss, and here it is for the upcoming season. And you look at how they play in the non-conference: Tory, Central Arkansas, Georgia Tech, and Tulsa. Those are really, that's not a bad non-conference schedule. Let's be honest. Georgia Tech is the toughest one, but I think Ole Miss is clearly the better team in this one. But tell you what, these are easy non-conference games for Ole Miss. Let's start with the Tory game on September 3rd. They should take care of business in that game. Tory used to be a great Group of 5 team, but they're not really that kind of team anymore. So I think Ole Miss should score like 50-something points in this game. And I think they do defeat Tory here on September 3rd. Central Arkansas is taking care of business on September 10th as well. Those are two easy wins that Ole Miss should start out with, and I got them starting out 2-0. They play Georgia Tech here on the road next on September 17th. Georgia Tech is a team that I'm not really high on this year. I could see this game being really close. I think first half they'll get, Ole Miss will kind of struggle a little bit. I think in the second half, Ole Miss does pull away, and I think they should score maybe something like 47 points in this game, and I got them defeating Georgia Tech here on the road. It won't be an easy game, maybe in the first half, but I think Ole Miss does pull away. And then they take care of business against Tulsa on September 24th, and I got Ole Miss starting out 4-0 on the season. They head to the month of October now. They play Kentucky here on October 1st. Kentucky is going to be a really good team this year. Will Levis back at quarterback, Chris Rodriguez back as well. I think Kentucky has got what it takes to be a top 25 team this year. I'm seeing this game really being close. I'm really seeing it being really one of those close games this year. Maybe a 50-50 matchup here in this one, but with a 50-50 games, I got to go with home field advantage, and I got Ole Miss defeating Kentucky in this game by about maybe 10 points or somewhere in that range. I think it will be a shootout. I think it will be a close one, and I think Ole Miss does come away, though, and survives this game against Kentucky. They played Vanderbilt here on the road, so you get an easy draw out of the East this year. You play Kentucky out of the East, which is kind of hard, but then you get Vanderbilt. That's one of the worst teams in the SEC. I think Ole Miss should go on the road and defeat Vanderbilt. I don't think Vanderbilt's going to be all that talented this year. They have a lot of question marks. I think it's going to be an up-and-down season for Vanderbilt as well. And I think Ole Miss does go on the road and defeat Vanderbilt in this game. Next game is against Auburn here at home. Auburn's got a lot of question marks as well this year with the quarterback situation. I think both of these teams right here are pretty even. Let's be honest. It comes down to that quarterback position for both of these teams. And I think it's going to really depend on who their starting quarterback will be. Bo Nix is gone. Matt Corral's gone. Two great quarterbacks are gone. But with home field advantage and also being a 50-50 game, I got to go with home field advantage. I'm going to go with the Rebels to defeat Auburn. I think, Ole Miss comes away and get revenge in this game as well. Auburn defeated Ole Miss last year, so I got Ole Miss getting revenge on Auburn in this game. Next game is on the road at LSU. You got a tough back-to-back road games here, and the stretch is really, hard in this game right here. There's a lot of games here that are there's a really hard stretch here for Ole Miss. LSU, Texas A&M on the road, and then Alabama, and then Arkansas on the road. Let's start with the LSU game, though. LSU is going to be a team that has a lot of question marks. How good will they be with Brian Kelly as their head coach? I think they'll be good. I think they'll be fired up in this one. But it's a 50-50 game, and with it being a 50-50 game, though, I had to go with home field advantage. I'm going to go with the Tigers to really, beat Ole Miss in this game. I'm going to go with the Tigers to defeat the Rebels. I like LSU in this game, but then with it being at home for LSU, they get a win there. They'll be fired up, shut down the offense of Ole Miss, and I think LSU gives Ole Miss their first loss of the season. Next game is on the road at Texas A&M, so you don't get a break there. With LSU, you get Texas A&M here on the road. But I think this will be a great game. I think overall it will be a great game. Texas A&M, a team that, is going to be young this year, but they're going to be better by, the first week of maybe the last week of October, and then, of course, in November. With it being on the road and also a 50-50 game, though, I had to go with the Aggies. I'm going to take the Aggies to win here against Ole Miss. Ole Miss's offense is going to be young, but this will be a shootout. I think Texas A&M, though, comes out with the win by about a 10-point, win there, probably, or somewhere in that range, maybe 4 points or somewhere. But I think Texas A&M is clearly the favorite going into this one as well with the home field advantage. Then Ole Miss gets a bye week before heading into the month of November. They are now sitting with a record of 7-2. They play Alabama here at home. I think Ole Miss has a chance to beat Alabama this year, but I don't think it will happen. I know Ole Miss is at home, but Alabama is too talented. Let's be honest. Bryce Young coming back at quarterback. They have a lot of talent coming back on the defensive side of the ball, and I think they'll shut down that offense for Ole Miss like they did last year. And I got Ole Miss losing to Alabama here at home on November 12th. I know the bye week helps them out, but it won't be enough, so I got to go with home field, or actually Alabama in this game. They play Arkansas next year on the road. Arkansas is going to be a team that I'm really high on this year. This is a revenge game for Arkansas as well. I think it's a 50-50 matchup here as well, but with 50-50 games, I had to go with Arkansas. I think Arkansas does get revenge on Ole Miss in this game. It was a great game last year, and I'm going to go with Arkansas to get their revenge on Ole Miss. We got them defeating the Rebels, and then they head to that final game of the season against Mississippi State at home. This game is, I think, on the weekend of Thanksgiving here, so it's a game that's going to go either way. Two great offensive teams here. I like Mississippi State's defense, but with it being home field advantage and also a 50-50 game, I'm going to go with the Rebels. I think they do end it out strong after 4 straight losses to tough teams out of the West. I think they do defeat Mississippi State here at home to end out their season. So I got Ole Miss going 8-4 this year in 2022. I think that's a reasonable prediction. Everybody's got Ole Miss maybe at 8-4 this year, and I think that's a reasonable prediction there. So Ole Miss, that concludes my prediction for Ole Miss at 8-4. We'll continue to do more football predictions next week. Stay tuned for those, and stay tuned here for more on Lucas Ross Sports.